and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes, and welcome to those of you who haven't been here before. Thank you for coming over to find out what it's all about. This is part one of the Leo full moon reading that I will be doing. This is the astrology reading for the Leo full moon, which is taking place on the 16th of February. And I will apologise because I was supposed to put this out yesterday, but unfortunately I had a family crisis which I had to deal with, so I couldn't actually get around to doing it yesterday, so it may be a little bit late again coming out, so I do apologise for that. So for those of you who are new to my channel and who haven't seen my readings before, what I do is I write it out and then I will read it off of my laptop. It is an intuitive reading, so it's come through my own intuitive interpretation of what I feel is happening at this time in the astrology world, in the bigger world in general. So I will start the reading with the surrender to the full moon energy, the surrender to the divine. Full moon is always about kind of a culmination of something, releasing of something, letting something go. Project maybe that's been worked on. Then we have the don't let pride get in your way. The full moon in Leo energy itself. Had to just check and make sure I got the right card there. And it is a big moon at this time as well. The moon is very close to Earth, so it's very kind of bright in the sky at the time. I saw it earlier today. And then we have the fixed energy of this full moon, because Leo is a fixed sign. And not only that, of course, we have the sun in Aquarius, which is a fixed sign as well. So following on from the new moon in Aquarius, still fixed energy and lots of it. And as I go through the reading, I will explain as to why there is so much fixed energy around at this time and why things are very determined, shall we say, at this time. People are very determined in what they're doing and they're not giving up easily. So that is fixed moon energy. And I'm just going to pull, first of all, from the Spirit Animal Oracle, because I've been doing that lately for each of the full moon energies as well, just to see which Spirit Animal Guide card we get for this particular time of the Leo full moon. If you look behind me as well, you can see that there are 5 cards that I've got up there. One of them is the Leo card itself, and then we have the Sun, which is the ruler of Leo. We have the the 5th house, which is creativity in that deck, but also pleasure as well. So that is the 5th house energy, fun, pleasure, enjoyment. Then we have the fire element as well. And lastly, at the very end, down that end, we have what's known as the Great Provoker, which I will talk about later in the reading as well. But that is the Grand Cross that is taking place in the sky at the moment. So here we have the Dragonfly Spirit, which is truth transcends illusion, which is very interesting, because I do talk quite a bit at the end of this reading as well about the Neptune energy that is around very strongly at this time, and is going to be for the next few months as well. So that kind of, for me, is very much the illusionary energy. Truth transcends illusion. So that's card number 22. Let's see what the Dragonfly Spirit wants to tell us. Okay, so it's here to remind you of the wisdom and truth available at all times in the hidden realms. Just as dragonfly catches your eye with its reflective wings and body, Dragonfly Spirit appears to tell you to pay attention to the truth beyond the illusion. And I am not making this up. because this is literally kind of what I actually have written further down in my reading. So that for me is quite a kind of confirmation, shall we say. I like getting confirmations. So and recognize the insights that come seemingly out of nowhere, peeking through from behind the veil. In the realm of spirit, there is far more. Sorry, let me just turn the page here. Page is stuck. Put the card down, Colette. Typical. Sorry about this, can't get the page to turn. Okay, so there is far more wisdom than you can perceive with your senses. And there is a deep knowing that you are not separate or alone, for a higher power recognizes you and loves you beyond measure. Fears disappear as you realize you are embraced by the nurturing force that is everywhere, always in communication with you. Alighting when you are preoccupied, Dragonfly Spirit offers this message. You exist in unity with all, including the protective spirits who share their wisdom, and you are being nudged along the path your soul needs to travel to have the experiences it craves. So that's very interesting energy that is taking place at this time. And for me, it is kind of quite a strong confirmation. So, getting into the actual astrology reading itself. The new moon in Leo, and I'm going to call it, because I haven't actually named it, although I did have a name come through for it earlier, and then I saw that another astrology reader had used that as well. So I think they called it Matter of the Heart. So I was thinking more along the line of the heart matters. Anyway, I haven't actually got around to giving it a title, so I will do so at some point. So the divine masculine sun energy opposes the divine feminine moon energy during the time of a full moon. And this full moon is occurring at 27 degrees 59 minutes or 28 degrees of the second fixed fire-spirited, fun-loving, ambitious, creative, spotlight-seeking, heart-centered and courageous sign that is ruled by the sun and is best known as Leo, which is the Latin for lion. It is taking place on the 16th of February 2022. In the UK, it will be seen at 16:56 hours. In other parts of the world, it will be happening at different times, so check your own time zone. Yet again, the full moon and the sun in the opposite sign of Aquarius are going to be connecting with the signs that follow on after them, thereby covering the early degrees of both Virgo and Pisces. If you have any planets or points at the 23, 29 degrees, 59 minutes of Leo, this is going to be a powerful full moon, putting you right in the spotlight of your own stage, center stage energy, really. Anyone with anything at the same degrees of the opposing sign of Aquarius, where the sun is shining its light from on this full moon, carrying its energy forward from the new moon in Aquarius, of the people, community, humanity, and as the moon represents our collective emotional psyche, we can see the world stage is very much in that courageous spirit of freedom, the Aquarian energy and sovereignty, the side of the lion. The other fixed signs being hit by the square angles of this full moon are Taurus and Scorpio. Again, the same degrees are where to look for any planets or points, as these will also become energized at this time, especially as both are being activated by the north and south nodes. The follow-on signs of Virgo and Pisces from 0 degrees 00 to 03 degrees will also feel this intensity if you have anything being connected to by either the moon or the sun. So check out your own natal chart, and there will be, for those of you who don't know where your placements are, a free natal link in the description box down below for you to go and check that out for yourself. And you can find out also where the house placements are, because that also makes a difference as to where the sun or the moon are at this time as well, particularly the moon. So yeah, see where these degrees fall for you with regard to your house placement, as this will be where you will see it play out for you on a personal level. For the collective, however, we will see, feel and experience it through the energies of the 5th house of pleasure, enjoyment, creative self-expression, self-confidence in who you are. The children we create, as well as the child within, along with love and romance, all come under the domain of the 5th sun-governed house. All full moons are culminating points when it is the time to release something or bring whatever we have been creatively working on into the light. The full moon in Leo is also a time for us to shine our inner light, to show our passion, happiness, gratitude and love for life. This full moon, there are relatively few actual aspects taking place with either the sun or the moon. And on the surface, it looks like not much is happening at all. But when we dig deeper, we discover some very important and influential energies occurring behind the scenes. The first, and probably the most thought-provoking, is the fixed Grand Cross, also called the Grand Square, which is a rare occurrence. When they do take place, it is like putting a stamp of that particular energy. So it's literally like stamping the chart at that time with whichever element the Grand Cross is creating from. And at this time, it is the fixed energy. So that is the particular energy that is going out into the collective for the next few weeks at least. And this one involves the moon in fixed Leo, the sun in fixed Aquarius, and the moon's nodes of destiny, the north node in fixed Taurus and the south node in fixed Scorpio, both at 27 degrees 03 minutes. So they're really tight conjunctions, because the 27 degrees, the moon is and the sun are at 27:59, so they're almost at 28. So it's more or less just under a degree off. So that it is a really tight degree, which means that it's going to be a really powerful expression of that energy at this time. So what's interesting about this from a can't say it today, excuse me, an astrotheosophical point of view is that it corresponds with the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot deck that depicts all of the 4 fixed signs in the tarot. The Wheel of Fortune is a card of shifting energy and fortunes that can be related to as the karmic wheel of life. These 4 fixed signs also contain what are known as the 4 royal stars. So we have Aldebaran, which is the Eye of Taurus, and it's said to relate to the Archangel Michael, also known as the Watcher in the East. And Archangel Michael is also said to have the Sword of Truth as well. Regulus is the heart of the lion. It is where we get the word regal from, and it corresponds with Archangel Raphael, the divine physician and watcher of the south. Antares is the heart of the scorpion. It corresponds with Archangel Uriel and is the watcher in the west. And Fomalhaut is the foot of the water bearer. It relates to the Archangel Gabriel and is the watcher in the north. So these 4 fixed royal stars, which originally would have come from Persia and the astrology of the Persians, most likely made up the original cross and symbol like the symbol of the cross, which is probably where this original four sign came from. And it's a symbol which has been around long before the historical Christ figure. And each of these fixed signs has its own element. So Taurus is earth, Leo is fire, Scorpio is water, and Aquarius is air. And in a grand cross, it is bringing all these elements together to make a fifth element known as ether. And on the card of the Wheel of Fortune, we see this shown as the mythical Egyptian creature known as the Sphinx, which is an amalgamation of all four signs, which metaphorically depicts the ascended state of leaving behind the material world and transcending into the 5D realm of frequency and vibration. Scorpio is often shown as its second symbol of the eagle. So often on a tarot card you'll see the Scorpio depicted as an eagle rather than a Scorpio, because Scorpio does actually have, as its sign, it has 3 different levels of being. So it has the scorpion side, it has the eagle, and then it also has the dove as well. So there's different levels with Scorpios. So the Wheel of Fortune could also be telling us that just as our fortunes shift and change, so too do these stars in what is known as the precession of the equinox. So they're not truly fixed. And in the precession of the equinox, an incredibly slow moving event that takes 72 years for a shift of just over 1 degree of where the sun rises on the ecliptic plane, which is also responsible for the shift of the ages on the great cosmic clock over a 25,772 roughly period, divided into 12 sections of roughly 2,156 years, which is hence the move into the age of Pisces from the age of Pisces, into the early stages of the age of Aquarius that we are experiencing now. But I just found it interesting that Grand Cross energy should be there at this time. So during this full moon, she will be conjunct the most royal of all the royal stars, which is Regulus, at 29 degrees 53 of Leo. This is a star connected to conditions of the heart, both romantically and medically. It has a very fortunate disposition, governing over things such as nobility of character, ambition, alertness, great power, status, and leadership. And leadership is going to be one of the big themes during this full moon and onwards for the next few weeks. The whole leadership, and that's like leaders all over the planet that are going to come under the spotlight at this time. It can also, though, bring sudden downfall and literal accidents and a violent end. However, it is also believed to be the most benefic of all the stars in the known universe. This fixed Grand Cross is going to give us strength, courage, and endurance to hold on to our personal truth and vision, to not sway or change our minds, to firmly hold on to what we believe to be true for us. We will be stubbornly digging in our heels and sticking to our principles. And that's going to be on both sides as well. So whatever's happening in the world, as you are probably very well aware, or some of you will be well aware, that there are things happening at this time, which is a big dividing energy. Both sides are going to be equally stubborn here because of this fixed energy. It's not just going to be a benefit to one side more than the other, but of course there is more people on one side than there is on the other, shall we say. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. A Grand Cross, by its very nature of 4 squares, is an extremely challenging aspect of tension and restriction, which, involving both the moon's own nodes, are forcing us to release the past and look towards the future. We could also at this time be given glimpses of our past lives as doorways into where some of our ingrained patterns that we experience in this lifetime are stemming from. These could turn up as pointers in books we read, what we watch, conversations we have, places we visit, some periods of history we may be drawn to, that we may find ourselves experiencing moments of deja vu from, or just resonating with them as something familiar. If so, see these as indicators of where those stuck feelings, habits, emotional responses to these repetitive, triggering situations we find ourselves going through time and time again are coming from. We are, after all, dealing with the moon's karmic nodes. The moon herself and the sun, all very personal, powerful, personal energies. They're very personal inner energies, inner planet energies as they're known. And they're all connecting together at this time. So this is a time in our personal story to release the toxic, to delve deeper into the underworld of our emotional graveyards, to discover what is holding us back. Are we still blaming others for our past experiences, thereby still giving them power over our future and keeping us anchored in a place of bitterness, resentment, repressed anger, guilt and frustration, all stemming from karmic debt and karmic entanglements, stopping us from heading toward a future of growth and abundance, knowing we deserve better and valuing our happiness above all else to create the life we want. This full moon in Leo is being aided by this tight conjunction from Regulus, the divine physician, Archangel Raphael, who it is said brings reassurance and healing to help those who have strayed from their path. Raphael is there to comfort and return us to a place of harmony, while bringing understanding and cleansing of the heart. Raphael is helping us to clear out our negative traits and doubts, replacing them with renewed hope, encouraging us to push forward on the wheel of life and trust in our destiny. Source, God, universe, light energy is constantly seeking balance and equilibrium, as is seen in the design of the Grand Cross, which shows the up and down and in and out flow of opposing elements. And for this reason, Raphael also helps to bring souls together who are needing to be united, which is also very fitting at this time with the feminine planet of love, Venus, and her masculine counterpart of desire, Mars, coming together, but more on that later. So apart from the opposition from the sun, the moon is also making a very uncomfortable and awkward quincunx or inconjunct aspects with both Pluto and Neptune at this time. Pluto is at 27 degrees 26 minutes in Capricorn. The planet of power is asking us to question, once again, where does our power lie? Do we take responsibility for our own power, or do we give it away to others? Are we emotionally capable of taking back our personal and sovereign power? Or is our inner child still looking for someone or something else to be the parental or authority figure in our life? Neptune at 21 degrees 57 minutes of Pisces is pushing us outside of our comfort zone. We are being given the chance to go deeper, to look beyond the illusion, even if we don't like what we feel about something. Neptune and the moon, the collective soul energy, are reminding us to trust our instincts, our inner knowing, and the guidance we have long been censored from. This may feel awkward and difficult at first, but the more we learn to listen to that inner voice of when something does not feel right, the better chance we have of lifting the veil and exposing the deceit and illusionary world we live in. thereby allowing us to bring it all to a place of transformative change, as we also have the North Node trine to Pluto, while the South Node is in a sextile. This is a perfect time to purge and release all our karmic debt and to realise we are powerful beings as individuals. And when we come together, our strength and power is magnified. This is not a time to let ourselves be divided by those who have led us to believe they have more power and authority over us than we have over ourselves. This is a time to recognise our personal autonomy and to find the courage to shine from a place of heart-connected confidence in our ability to overcome all and any limitations that are placed in our path. And once again, Regulus is supporting us with this. So Mercury is still conjunct Pluto, having just stationed direct on the 4th of February. They just became conjunct again, exact for the third and last time on the 11th. And at the time of this full moon, Mercury has moved beyond the Capricorn energy and is once again back in Aquarius at 01 degrees 43 minutes. He has just prior to this full moon, once again for the third time, crossed over the 0 degree point where the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction took place at solstice 2020, heralding in the long-awaited and foretold age of Aquarius. So he's literally at that same point, the 01 degree point, which I believe was where Jupiter and Saturn actually conjuncted at the solstice, December the 21st, 2020. And the main importance behind this is the shift from the earth elements, which is where all previous Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions have occurred in the element of air, apart from one, I believe, during that particular time. So where they're now going to be taking place for the next 200 years is going to be in air signs. So this really is kind of a shift, a huge shift in consciousness out of the denseness of the material realm and into the more, again, ethereal realm. Like as I was saying with the Wheel of Fortune, which it depicts all those 4 elements, and then the 4 elements come together and they create that 5th element of the ether. So again, it's very interesting that we should have this Grand Cross at this time as well, at that particular point also where Regulus is very interesting. So this is only added to by the fact that the last time they met in Aquarius was in 1405. So you have to go back some way to find when they last came together in an air sign, and it was in 1405. So we're dealing on an energetic level at this time with a resurfacing in some ways of a period of our history that actually began 200 years before that, back in the early 1200s. So that would have been the time that they first came together in an air sign, would have been back in the 1200s, late 1100s, I believe. But that's a lot of history, and so maybe this is also still a part of our karmic debts and the detanglements of the old stories and belief systems, ingrained conditioning that we continue to tell ourselves on a subconscious level, passed down generationally without us even realizing that it's coming from this kind of way back time in our history. So, and particularly amongst the collective energies that we need to release as well, because it's become like ingrained history, our story. It's like it keeps going and it keeps going because we keep doing the same thing over and over again. So Mercury is still in his shadow until he reaches 10 degrees 18 minutes on the 24th of February, when he will begin to cover new ground, while also becoming square with Uranus. This will be the first new connection that Mercury makes since his retrograde and the conjunction with Pluto, which ends on the 18th. So they're still conjunct until the 18th of February. And this has been bringing a final ending to certain ways of how we think about ourselves and our lives, along with how we express and communicate around those who we may unknowingly, again, give authority of ourselves away to, plus how we have allowed others to hold this power over us by the use of their words. Mercury's words and communication, and Pluto is power. On another level, Mercury has been asking us to become aware of how we may have tried to hold power and use our authority over others, like those of us those in our environment, family, friends, that kind of thing, work situations. Through the way we speak, the words we use, as Capricorn can be harsh and Pluto can be destructive, which can lead to a dangerous combination when speaking our mind, which we're kind of seeing taking place at this time as well within leadership. There is some dangerous things that are being said out there, which is going to probably cause a lot of backlash at some point. Again, leadership, Leo energy, Leo being the king, royalty, sovereignty, so those in those positions, but also within ourselves as well. It's also about finding that within ourselves at this time and bringing it out within ourselves rather than, as I was saying, giving it away to others. On the following day of the 19th, as Mercury at 04 degrees 51 minutes or 5 degrees starts to square with Uranus, they will begin to bring together the lower vibratory energy of the thinking, more mundane mind and the higher vibratory energy of the cosmic mind. And this is going to challenge us to open up to new ideas, innovative ways of thinking, solving old problems in new and unexpected ways, connecting in groups and viewing our local environment and communities through new ways of understanding. It could also see more breakthroughs in the world of sci-fi becoming sci-fact, as well as more information about our galactic story in general, as the full moon in Leo is trined with the galactic center. Our portal into the cosmos is once again being activated, reminding us of our connection beyond the solar system we inhabit. So again, more galactic energy coming through at this time. We've been having this over and over again, this 27 degree point of Sagittarius, which is where the galactic center sits, has been activated at so many of these full moon periods that it's a big thing. This energy is coming through more and more powerfully all the time, taking us beyond our kind of mundane earthly realm in many ways, and kind of reminding us that we are actually a part of something much bigger out there. So this is also about asking ourselves, how best can we come together in smaller groups to invest in smaller humanitarian projects with our time, energy and effort. With all planets in direct motion, it is time to look ahead into the incoming future with a sense of freedom instead of staying stuck in the past and carrying our burdenful history with us as we go forward. We need to drop the kind of thinking and attitude of how we have always done things is how it will always continue to be done. And this could be a strong theme in this transit. So with this Mercury and Uranus connection, that could be a strong theme of particularly amongst with Uranus in Taurus, particularly amongst the kind of banking system, financial world, and just the kind of earthly things in general, because Taurus being that very earthly energy, the kind of survival, and it could have things to knock-on effects with our food, our industries, that kind of thing. So this transit is going to last until the 2nd of March, just before the new moon in Pisces, by which time Mercury will also be conjunct with Saturn, as they will begin to meet up together on the 25th of February, during which time we will see some consequences for the things that have been said previously, as Saturn will make us responsible and call us to task for our actions and communication, spoken or written, particularly over what has affected large groups, large numbers of people, and humanity in general. Saturn is the planet of retribution, and as ruler over our 3D physical domain at this time in Aquarius, he's helping by constructively building the foundations for a future that will revolutionize the world as we know it. Even if it takes some hard challenges to push through first, as I've said previously, Saturn always works through adversity. So even when things appear to not be going in our favour, Saturn is looking for long-term solutions, not short-term fixes. The more roadblocks the elite put up, the more it will continue to backfire on them. Saturn at 17 degrees 21 minutes continues to square off with Uranus at 11 degrees 11 minutes, but his energy and hold over the planet of revolutionary change and great awakenings is fading, and the Uranian energy is coming in even stronger, which we are seeing playing out around the world at this time, as people are once again standing up and demanding our freedoms back, the right to choose and autonomy over our own bodies. I will also just add, because I haven't actually put that in here, but the full moon is also connecting with Eris, so it's in a trine with Eris, which is the energy of the kind of breaking free energy as well. It's very Uranian energy in its own way. It's all about kind of discord and strife and disharmony, and like if any energy is going to cause an uproar and kind of cause trouble, then that is going to be the Eris energy, which we saw back in the summer of, I think it was 2020, I believe it was 2020, the summer of 2020, when I think it was Eris and Mars that were very closely connected. In fact, Mars went over the top of Eris and everything kind of kicked off. I mean, it was just like crazy. And that isn't so much Uranus energy, although Uranus is all about change and forcing change, but he does it in much more kind of subtle ways, shall we say, direct but subtle, whereas Eris energy is much more kind of in your face. It's a much more like, I'm here, what are you going to do about it kind of energy. And that is also being trined by the moon at this time, so that is quite a lot of kind of fire energy that is being activated. So yeah, the square with Uranus and Saturn is going to come to an end on the 20th of February, which is just before Pluto enters his exact first return with the US natal chart after 247. Some people say 6, some people say 48. So I've just gone in the middle of 247 years. We're helping to ease the tension just a little, so that Uranus Saturn square energy is going to kind of be evaporating a little bit more. But of course we do have this Pluto return which is happening, and the Pluto return, even though it is happening in the US, it is going to be felt. the effects of it will be experienced all over the world. It's going to affect us all in some way, shape or form. So Pluto will become exact at 12:29 hours, and this is taken from the Philadelphia chart, which was where the signing of the Declaration of America happened. So I've taken it literally, so 12:29 hours in America, in the Philadelphia zone. And in the UK, it will be taking place at 5:10 in the evening, so 17:10 hours. Oh no, sorry, the 17:10 hours was when the declaration was signed, but it's taking place at 17:29 hours in the UK, so more or less 5:30 in the evening. So we are already feeling the effects of this monumental occasion in the history of the land of the free. And during the time of this full moon, Uranus is still making his presence strongly felt through 3 other connections: an ongoing sextile with Jupiter at 10 degrees 54 or 11 degrees, which started just before the Aquarius new moon. So this is a strong sextile energy as well, because they're both around the 11 degree mark. And this sextile will become exact on the 17th of February, so literally tomorrow, so it is really quite powerful. And when they meet at the 60-degree angle, which is that sextile angle, from 11 degrees to 12 minutes, and continue to communicate up until the 9th of March. So it's quite an ongoing process that is happening here. And this transit is still adding a lot of hope, joy and optimism as people continue to come together under the Uranian banner of this fight for freedom and self-determination, and keep pushing forward in ever-expanding groups of humanity. More and more people are coming together all around the world. You've seen these groups of people taking their trucks and their vehicles and basically like protesting their rights all over the world at this time. It's all very Uranus, Uranian, breaking through, breaking free, rebellious, changing energy. It's an energy of I will not be, I will not conform, I will not be tied down, I will not be restricted, which is basically that Saturn energy. What Saturn has been trying to do for the last 2 years in Aquarius is restrict everything. And so the Uranus energy is basically breaking it all out. But not only is it breaking out of that 2-year period, it's also breaking out of this complete history. So as we move into the Aquarian age and out of the Piscean age, it's literally kind of saying breaking free of all of that structure that has been built up around us for the last kind of 2,000 odd years. It is that pretty massive at this time. So in Pisces, Jupiter, the planet of pushing through boundaries to discover the unexplored, is sitting in the sign of limitless creativity. In a sextile with Uranus, he's encouraging and supporting the chaotic breakthrough energy of Uranus. And in Taurus, it's to keep on keeping on with limitless potential. And Taurus is a sign that does not give up on anything easily. Once the mind is fixed on something, it will see it through to the end. And of course, we have this fixed energy taking place as well. And the north node, in Taurus is where we are heading at the moment. It is our karmic destiny for this next year and a half. It is what is going to be important over this next year and a half. So the energies are shifting once more as we move out of that Gemini period that we were in, which was very much to do with kind of data and information and big communication and all of that kind of satellite system stuff and what have you, internet and everything kind of really being focused on over that kind of 18-month period. That is all shifting and changing. So Uranus is also making 2 trines with both Venus, the goddess of love and sensuality, at 16 degrees 56, and Mars, the god of desire and passion, at 16 degrees 57. And they are both going to be exact at 16 degrees 56 as Mars finally caught up. In fact, they have already been exact at that degree, as Mars finally caught up with Venus 24 minutes prior to this full moon in Leo. So this, however, is not where the story started between the feminine and masculine couple. For that, we need to look back to July the 13th, 2021. And it was on that date that the two came together at 19 degrees 48 in Leo. And interestingly, at the time, the moon had just left Leo and was at 2 degrees of Virgo. So during this full moon, all that energy is being brought back into the light, with the moon at 29 degrees or 28 degrees of Leo going into that Virgo energy, still kind of activating that those early degrees of Virgo. At that time, Venus was an evening star, which is significant as Venus energy corresponds with 2 different types. Venus as a morning star is said to be much more eager by nature, spontaneous and emotionally more resilient than her counterpart. It is, however, also said she can be naive in love, being drawn to comfort and pleasure. She is of an impulsive emotional nature during this phase, allowing the feelings to lead the way. Feel first, think later. The second type is Venus as an evening star, where she has a more deliberate and goal-orientated nature who seeks to understand and make sense of the experiences during the Venus morning star phase. So whatever she experienced during the morning star phase, she's kind of growing into it. She's learning from the experiences that she had during those earlier phase when she reaches her evening star phase. So this is a much more controlled and introverted side of Venus, although the feelings can still be felt as intensely as emotions become internalized and feelings come after the fact. If Venus is behind the Sun in a clockwise direction in your natal chart, then you are a morning star Venus. If Venus is in front of the Sun anti-clockwise in your chart, then you are an evening star Venus. So Venus became a morning star on January the 14th, 2022, once more entering her stage of spontaneity, eagerness, pleasure, and returning to her warrioress youthful inner energy. Venus and Mars have both been trined by Uranus for a while now, Venus since the 11th of January and Mars since the end of January, which has been helping us to break out and break free from the traditional values we have placed on our lives and relationships. Values from the conditioning experiences that have grown around us that we may not have been aware of. There could have been some shocking and enlightening moments of revelation and revolution in our personal lives, allowing us to leave what we have outgrown behind us. At the time of this conjunction, Venus and Mars are also conjunct Vesta, the goddess of hearth and home. Vesta chose never to marry. She remained untouched by any of the gods. Instead, Vesta dedicated herself to others' homes, bringing warmth, light and sustenance to families in particular. The fireplace was traditionally where families and tribes gathered to socialise. The fireplace represents the heart of a home, and its value and relevance was so important that the Romans kept a fire burning continuously in the temple dedicated to Vesta and the eternal sacred flame tended by her Vestal virgins. Fire itself is a symbolic expression of creativity and passion. And with Mars conjunct Vesta, that is a lot of fire energy. However, it is also being transmuted into courage to be able to stand up for what we value. And these values are stemming from what is precious to us: heart, hearth, home, family. And that kind of reminds me of the Leo energy as well in many ways. The heart, it's what's precious. It's kind of like where we find our pleasure as well. Because Leo also, if you think of the lion is kind of the beast that likes to kind of just laze about and just kind of enjoy his home, his family, surrounded by his pride. But he also has courage. So it's that kind of similar fire energy, passion, drive. And so and also the freedom to support these basic human rights without establishment standing in our way as well. This is something else that we're going to be standing up for, as these are basic human rights. And so this trine, because it's in Capricorn as well, and Capricorn is all about establishment, it's kind of moving beyond that. This trine energy with Uranus will come to a close on the 17th. So that would be just after the full moon energy for Mars, but will continue into the early hours of the 18th for Venus, as Mars has now taken the lead. The two of them are about to embark on a journey and travel through the sky together for the next 7 weeks, having already spent the last fortnight in a dance of Mars, almost but not quite catching her. Another interesting thing to point out here is they too are in quincunx with their last conjunction point at 20 degrees Leo, during which time they were both square with Uranus at 14 degrees Taurus, as they are both almost 18 degrees of Capricorn now. That point in Leo is being reactivated, and the Uranus energy of change, the new way of doing and being, is definitely playing a leading role in the backdrop to their story. So when they came together last time at that 20 degrees point of Leo, they were also in a connection with Uranus, just as they are this time as well. Only this time it's in a trine, so the energy is flowing a lot more easily, and it's a lot kind of less difficult to break free from something or break out of something as it is when it's in a square. It's a much more challenging energy, but it's interesting that Uranus should have been there back then on the 21st in 2021, sorry, just like he is now at this time. And as they move forward together, they will on the 27th of February meet up in a stellium of energies. Sorry, my nose is running and don't have any tissue. As the moon joins them. So on the 27th of February, there is going to be a stellium of Venus, Mars, Vesta, all conjunct at 24 degrees. And those three are all going to be conjunct Pluto, just to add some kind of extra intensity, because obviously that wasn't enough. The universe wants us to kind of really experience this moment, and so this is an incredibly rare occurrence, and it only kind of happens every so many years. The last time Venus, Mars, Vesta and Pluto came together was back in 1955. So I'm presuming that most of us probably weren't alive back then when the last the last conjunction between these planets happened. And so, which incidentally also happened at the 26 degree mark of Leo. So back in 1955, Leo was still the energy that was being involved there as well. So a lot of energy around this Leo theme at this time as well. So check out and see what's happening for yourself, which placement, house placement, all of this Leo energy is taking place. And so the sun at at the 26 degrees of Leo, but the sun was at 28 degrees. So both the sun and the conjunction back in 1955 were all conjunct the sun. So back then it was Venus, Mars, Vesta and Pluto with the sun, and this time it's the same 4 planets with the moon. So that's also very interesting energy, because it's both the masculine and the feminine. So last time it was the masculine energy, this time it's the feminine energy. So and it took place at that 28 degrees, which is basically the exact same spot that the full moon is in now as well. So cycles. This conjunction happening on the 27th is the completion and culmination of that cycle, which is about to make it very clear to us on a soul level what it is we are desiring or yearning for on a much deeper level, for complete satisfaction and transformation of ourselves and ultimately the life we live, as opposed to what our previous generation were needing. So Capricorn is about our stability, our comfort, but also frugality. Our needs being met, but not to overindulge ourselves. In our relationships, Venus is looking for the real. But as Venus and Mars are about to meet up with the Lord of the Underworld and deep transformational, long-lasting, no-going-back energy, this change is already occurring. There is more to this ongoing story of commitment to love, but I will talk more about that in the new moon in Pisces video in early March. However, I will say those with any planets or points between the 25 degrees to 29 degrees of the cardinal signs Capricorn, Cancer, Aries and Libra will feel this energy the most intensely. So just a little bit about the natal chart, the US natal chart, and how it's going to affect the 2 opposing leaders of the US at this time. So the full moon is going to be making some interesting aspects to both Joe Biden's natal chart and Donald Trump's. Joe Biden has his sun at 27 degrees 33 Scorpio. So it is part of this fixed grand cross with the south node exact bang on top. He also has his Venus at 28 degrees 33 of the Scorpion. So that is also being activated by this south node, letting go and releasing energy. Also, with it being in a fixed cross as well, again, it's very stubborn energy. While at the same time, both being sextile to Pluto in Capricorn. So the south node, Venus and Joe Biden's sun are all sextile at this time to Pluto in Capricorn at this kind of 27 degree point, and which will be in a sextile with his sun to the exact degree and minute at the time of Pluto's return in the US natal chart, which is really interesting. His sun is at 27 degrees 33 and the natal Pluto is 27-33 degrees. So is that a transformational energy that's going to take place there? Or is there something much bigger that's going to kind of bring in an ending? So, but this is also all being accentuated by his Jupiter, which, as I was saying, at 25 degrees 8 in Cancer, Cancer being one of those signs that is going to be affected by all of this Capricorn energy in those degrees at this time. And it's opposing the natal US Pluto and the placement of Pluto. So his Jupiter, his natal Jupiter in Cancer, is opposing the actual Pluto return energy. So that's what's happening in his own chart as well. So Jupiter, of course, is the expanding energy. So everything it touches, it kind of magnifies. And in an opposition, it's energy that kind of shifts backwards and forwards and kind of doesn't really have much of a release. Yeah, so Yeah, Donald Trump's chart does not have as much connection to this full moon. His Venus is at 25 degrees 44 in Cancer, but more intensely is his part of fortune at 28 degrees 5 minutes of Aquarius, which is where we have the sun at this time. So his part of fortune is exactly where the sun is during this full moon. Which is also conjunct the moon of the US natal chart. That is also the natal chart of the US. Moon is at 27 degrees 10 of Aquarius. So there's a definite connection there between the part of fortune and the full moon and the moon of the natal chart. So both men are going to be affected by this full moon in different ways. And for Joe Biden, it is like the sun is setting on his leadership and presidency, especially with everything that is being brought into the light at this time regarding the very scorpionic, secretive events and actions taken against his opponent previously, which are kind of coming out into the news, which is also trying to be ignored by mainstream news as well. So whereas Donald Trump has the sun lighting up his path to fortune and fame, which is the part of fortune basically, on top of the moon, which is the soul of the people. He also has his Mars at 26 degrees 46 of Leo. So he's bringing that full moon energy of love for the people and country, which feeds and galvanizes his passion and drive very much into the limelight and center stage, while also having the most fortunate fixed star in the universe permanently shining on his actions. His Mars at 26 degrees 46 of Leo is conjunct permanently the Regulus star in Leo at 29 degrees. It's no wonder he has a love of gold and appears to have the Midas touch. I mean, that's very Leo energy, gold, sun, brightness. And he does appear to have the Midas touch as well, with the royal star of Regulus smiling down upon him. He's blessed and he knows it. I intend to go more in depth in the Pluto return chart reading than I am working on at present, so I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to move on lastly to what I want to say about Neptune. So Neptune at this time is square Black Moon Lilith, and who's now at 23 degrees 38 of Gemini. And this is an ongoing transit which became exact on the 26th of January at 21 degrees 15 minutes. During this time we have seen the narrative around the pandemic that began just after Neptune and Black Moon Lilith became conjunct back in the late autumn of 2019 in Pisces, changing its tune over the last few weeks. Black Moon Lilith is the shadow, hidden side that is taboo. In Gemini, square Neptune, which is all about the data, the information, communication and the media. The reality that Neptune and Black Moon Lilith are beginning to reveal is the more sinister, darker and shadow nature of this situation we have been forced to experience. When you hear the term mass psychosis, it sums this particular event up perfectly. It sums up the Neptune square Black Moon Lilith energy perfectly as well. That's really what I want to express there, is that that term that's being used out there, mass psychosis, really is that coming together of Neptune and Black Moon Lilith in this squaring off energy. It sums this particular event up perfectly. Neptune is the unseen, the unknown, the confusion, the nebulous, the veil that hides the deeper knowledge that you have to go and seek out if you want to understand what lies behind. A bit similar to the card that we got earlier that came out. And in conspiracy terms, Neptune is the dive into the rabbit hole that was taken by Alice in the book Alice in Wonderland, all very Neptunian in concept, and written by an opioid addict, something else Neptune rules over, hallucinatory experiences, as well as the realm of pharmaceutical drugs. The original meaning of which is derived from pharmakia, spelt with a K, E-I-A at the end, meaning sorcery, something else in Neptune's domain, magic, the occult, which literally means hidden, coming from which brings me back to Black Moon Lilith, as she governs all things forbidden, dark and mysterious, the places that are best left untouched, the areas of life that there is a line drawn not to be crossed over for very good reasons. There is so much about that. There is so much that takes place behind the scenes of our day-to-day existence that we, the populace, have no idea about. So much that is occulted because those working on these ideas already know how dangerous to them it would be if the populace knew the truth. Otherwise, why hide it? Neptune is playing a very big role over the coming weeks and months, as in the US natal chart, he is about to have a Neptune opposition, a rare event, which only happens every 165 years. So this is another event that's taking place in the US natal chart, which isn't being spoken about as much as the Pluto return, obviously, because that is a really massive thing. But there is this opposition of Pisces and Virgo energy that is taking place with this Neptune here as well. And it only happens every 165 years, and it begins exact in earnest on the 18th of February, so 2 days after the full moon. Again, Philadelphia time, as that's where the signing of the declaration took place, at 22 degrees in the natal chart. So when on the 18th, Neptune will start to hit that 22 degrees point of that opposition with natal Neptune. The actual degrees of the sign are 22, 25. So it's going to hit that point, Virgo, in the natal chart, which I find very interesting, as Virgo is the health-related sign, especially the alternative and holistic medicine side being ruled by Chiron, the wounded healer, and Mercury, which is the mind. The body is the Virgo, and if we include Pisces, we also get the spirit. So interestingly, alternative medicine was originally attacked by the oil barons, the Rockefellers in particular, who had a vested interest in synthetic drugs and used the creativity of the film world, Pisces, to create an illusion around these witch doctors and snakeskin salesmen as doing more harm than good. These characters turned up on all the early Western cowboy type films as dodgy, dangerous, unsavoury characters who were actually herbalists and homeopaths, which was at the time the largest form of healing medicine. They have been putting their spin and casting their spells for a long time now. Neptune will be moving deeper into its opposition with its natal self just as Pluto returns on the 20th. It's a massive transformative shift for the US as Neptune becomes exact on the 2nd of March, followed by its profound conjunction with Jupiter on the 12th of April at almost 24 degrees. Both of which I will be doing more about in later videos. I'm going to finish this video here. I am going to be putting another video out about this Pluto return and this Virgo Pisces Neptune opposition that's going to be taking place over these coming weeks and months as well. So if you're interested, there will be more information put out there about these particular situations. So because we've got a lot of Venus energy, and because the South Node is also being activated, sorry, the North Node is also being activated at this time by the Grand Cross energy, and Venus, all this Venus and Mars that's conjunct at this time as well, I thought I would take a card from the Lover's Oracle. and see what it comes out with for us. They're not easy cards to shuffle, but we've got this card here which says, when you pass from this world, you take nothing with you but your soul and the memories you have shared with those you love. That's very interesting and very apt for this particular Pluto period of history as well. There are lots of souls who are leaving the planet at this time, sadly, mostly unnecessarily. So one last card for this reading, and then I'm going to finish it by saying thank you very much for listening and being here with me. And I hope you all have exciting full moon in Leo experiences. Exciting, heartfelt, pleasurable, happy. So we got honesty and communication. So I'm just going to look that up. Honesty and communication. Where are you? Not there. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you are being given an opportunity to speak your truth. You have reached a point in your journey where you must be honest with yourself and all those around you. If you are holding anything in or feel you need to share something in order to feel free, know that your angel guide is encouraging you to act on this now. When you share your feelings and speak truthfully, you draw the support and light of the universe into your heart. If you are in a challenging position and find it difficult communicating what is in your heart, call in angels and ask them to support you. They want you to know that when you speak with honesty, you attract experiences that lovingly reflect who you really are. So that's very interesting with this Mercury just coming out of his shadow period over the next few weeks. Honesty and communication, also Mercury and Uranus conjunction that's coming, or not conjunction coming up, sorry, square energy that's coming up here as well. Honesty and truthfulness, communication. So that's it for this full moon in Leo reading. I will be doing the tarot part of this reading hopefully tomorrow, and hopefully I will be able to get it out by tomorrow. Like I said, I did have a situation, so I would have got this done before now, but life is what life is, and you just have to go along with what's happening. So thank you all very much. There is a subscribe button on my video. If you haven't done that already, if you haven't subscribed, then please do. Also, could you thumbs up my video if you've got anything of any interest from listening to my message that I've put out there. If you've learned anything, if you think that it's worth listening to, just thumbs it for me and let me know. Also, if you want to give me a comment as well, just drop me a comment in the description box or the comment box down below, and let me know how you feel about my readings. That would be nice as well, because it's just a case of me kind of sitting here and talking to my camera, and it would be nice to get some feedback. Some of you have given me feedback. Thank you very much. I have had some really, really lovely comments from people out there, which is very inspiring and really kind of helps me to kind of want to continue to do this, which is really what I'm trying to do, is to grow my channel and continue putting my messages out there. I will also be putting out the rest of the 2022 readings as well. So Keep an eye on my channel if you're interested. Hit that bell and you will be notified as and when I put my readings out. And hopefully I will see you all again soon. Please take really good care of yourselves.